bars in a rain. Man, I go hard like Santan.
Welcome. We've got another NSO pod for you guys under the touchline Fracka banner. It's a late recording this evening, so not many of us on tonight, even though we got back-to-back wins recently. I'll be a host, X-Pac, and I'll be joined by Goldberg. Firstly, man, how you doing?
Yo. I'm good, man. I'm good. All I got is a couple words. Newcastle, you're next. Goldberg voice, man. You're next.
Have you been practicing that or not?
Yeah. Back to back. What did Drake say? Back to back, like them N-words that they ain't get the message. Back to back, like I'm London cover, Lethal Weapon. Back to back, like I'm Jordan 96, 97. Whoa.
There we go. Yeah.
Finally. You know, it feels good. It feels good getting back-to-back wins because they're a novelty for Spurs these days, yeah? We've only done it, twice this year? The calendar year? It's crazy, isn't it?
For the calendar year in all competitions, I think that might have been our first.
So what, 2022s? Nah, so we beat... So are you talking about in the league or in all comps?
I was thinking all comps because I heard.
Okay, you're right.
I should have double-checked this, but I heard the stat that we hadn't had back-to-back wins since December.
No, you're right. And if we're going all comps, we haven't had back-to-back wins since December. Yeah, spot on.
That's insane.
Yeah, crazy.
Club of our stature.
Crazy.
Yeah, maybe it's the entitlement that makes us think we can expect back-to-back wins. But yeah, it's been the kind of state we've been in as a team for a minute. Like, you think back to how we've actually been, it's quite hard to expect back-to-back wins, even though we've had some very winnable games, especially at home. But yeah, we finally done it. We played West Ham on the weekend after Brighton, and it was a must-win game, essentially, not only for the top four aspirations, but West Ham played in midweek in Europe, played 120 minutes. So the onus on us was to not only beat an outside top four rival, but to obviously finally get this back-to-back hoodoo completely out the way. So we'll get into it. Tobes, firstly, starting lineup. No surprises there. Did you have any issues with that?
No. It was the lineup I expected, to be honest. It's the lineup that he's played in. He's played in our last three fixtures, if I'm correct. Ever since Sergio got injured anyway against Everton, so Regulon came on against Everton, played it against Man United, played it against Brighton, and then played it against West Ham. So 3 on the spin now. So I think now we're seeing what Antonio Conte. I was going to say likes. I don't think he likes a lot about this team personally, but we're seeing something that he's used to doing, which is keeping the same 11 and not having to rotate. I think that's when you see a better Antonio Conte, when he has a bit more faith in the players that he's working with, and at the very least, from a stability standpoint, it's good to see that there's minimal rotation now, and that the sort of close to best 11 is set. That's good for me. Good for me.
And I'm just trying to think, were you at the game as well?
Yeah. I went there. We spliffed them, man. We spliffed those fucking spammers. Good. We spliffed
everywhere they go.
Everywhere they go. Tottenham get wow.
That wouldn't have been wrong.
Yeah, PTSD from singing it, because you went to Brighton away, so we do this thing in our fan base where we sing it to take the piss out of ourselves. We actually sing Tottenham get battered everywhere we go when we're winning, but we spliffed them, man. Good. I hate West Ham. I fucking hate them, and their fans, they're pompous, they're wankers. They beat Sevilla on the Thursday. I was getting loads of abuse from spammers because of what I said. I put my neck out and said they're not winning the Europa League. Fuck them. I still don't think they're going to win the Europa League. Fuck them. But I was happy we spliffed them, man. I'm so annoyed that we let them score that shitty, jammy goal from a set piece, because it would have been a spotless performance otherwise. Absolutely spliffed them. Should have had probably 5 or 6 goals scored on the day. And people want to talk to me about tiredness. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a flying monkeys about tiredness. Why do I give a why do I give a heck about fatigue? Who cares?
Mm.
Have they spared a thought for our fatigue when they've played us off the back of European excursions in the past? No, their fans celebrated like they won the World Cup. So I'm glad we gave them a dose of their own medicine, man. They're talking about, oh, we had bigger fish to fry in Europa League. This is their first ever European adventure in my lifetime as a Spurs fan, and look how giddy they're getting. So I'm happy we buried them, man, and I'm glad that Son scored that third goal, because I think 2-1 would have been a really, really harsh reflection of that game.
For sure. Especially starting the game as well as he did, as well as we did. I think I'm trying to think how far West Ham got in Europe under Slaven Bilic. I'm sure they got into Europe then, but anyway, they got nowhere near as far as they have done, which is the much coveted quarterfinals. Fair play. But yeah, it's great that we started on the front foot as well as we did, right? Because the first goal was always going to be crucial. I wouldn't have trusted us to go on and come back in the game, say if we conceded the first goal, because like the pressure was all on us going into that game. And whenever we have a high pressure situation like that, especially this season, the squad tend to not even come out of their shells, so to speak. But the first goal, coming from, I think Harry Kane put it in from the right hand side, and then Son kind of forced the issue on a certain centre back, which our fans managed to put a bit of pressure on at the start of the game.
Cat's out the bag.
He got a new profile picture as a result.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag. The cat is out the bag. Yes, we made his life a living hell on Sunday. It was so good. Rubber cats being thrown in the south stand. Every single time he got the ball, he was booed. I definitely feel like that played a part in his performance, because he didn't really look settled at all throughout the game. At all.
No. That's what I mean. You could tell so early on, and it's reflective on Son forcing the issue. A lot of criticism on Son before the game, especially over the last few weeks. Looked like he had a point to prove, not only to our fans, West Ham fans as well. He has a bit of distaste for them. Obviously, they've abused him in the past. So his performance overall, we have to speak on it. Tops, if you're listening as well, obviously you've criticised him very, very heavily. Even the apologists for Son can obviously recognise he's not quite used to Conte's system yet, but he really kind of came and showed what he can do, didn't he?
Definitely, man. Definitely. I think it's no secret that we've not seen the best Son over the past couple of months. He's had like 1 or 2 games here where he's looked good, like Leeds, like Brighton when he first came back from injury as well. But we've also had games where he scored and not looked good, like Liverpool. I can't remember what the other game was.
Wolves at home, he looked particularly nervous. I'd say
Wolves, he was poor. Even Everton, he scored. I think he scored like 2 goals, but 1 or 2 goals. But he was poor in that game as well. Like, he's just not looked himself. But the one thing which I think you have to give him credit for, which is why I guess there is such a harsh expectation, is this guy's playing so poorly for a number of weeks and months, and yet his scoring or assisting rate isn't slowing down. We're talking about the joint second top scorer in the Premier League now. We're talking, and he's our joint top assister as well. As I said, we were speaking about that crazy stat that I think, like, amongst the games where he's been available or something like that, he's assisted like 14 of our last 15 or something ridiculous like that, which is a testament to one, how good a player he is, that he can still affect these games when he's not playing poorly. But it also begs the question as to, wow, you can do this whilst playing badly. Imagine what you can do when you're actually playing well. And unfortunately, West Ham felt the brunt of that, because I felt that his use of the ball was better. His off the ball runs are always good, even when he plays poorly. His off the ball
You
run.
notice that particularly more when you see him live in the flesh, and even
Yeah.
against Brighton when he was poor in phases. Even like he dropped off towards the second half, but his constant running in behind still gave us a platform to stretch the opposition team and continue playing. And he's the only player in the side currently that can do that to a good effect in the forward line, anyway. So
definitely, and he's just got that really good understanding with Harry Kane as well. Kane, he said it in his interview. He says, "Listen, I make the runs because I know Harry. He'll flick it on. He'll pass me. He'll pass it. He'll find me. He knows. And even if the ball doesn't come to him, at the very least, he's stretching defenses as well. So listen, we've criticized Son for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and rightly so. Before anyone comes at me, rightly so. He deserves criticism. Maybe not as much as we've heard, but he deserves criticism. But when he plays well, we'll give him credit. It's a long road to redemption based on some of the performances we've seen this season. But listen, 13 Premier League goals, our top scorer this season in the league. The guy, his rate doesn't drop. Now we just need the performances to stay at this level. When we get back from the international break, we need him to maintain the level that we saw against West Ham, against Newcastle, against Aston Villa, against Brighton, where we actually need to start building some sort of momentum and consistency.
For sure. Obviously, going into half time in the game as well, we conceded from the set piece in what was pretty much West Ham's only kind of sustained amount of play, like moment of play. Conceding the corner in the first place was a bit of a bozo moment, especially for number 2, who's actually playing relatively well recently with Kulusevski, and then we switched off at the back post once the ball was loose from ahead of. Why does Craig Dawson love doing this to us as well? Like one of the set piece and flicked it on, just to a bit of open space aimlessly, and they just somehow got the ball.
Yeah. He's so shit as well, man. I hate that guy. He's so shit. He's such a shit centre back, and I know he's done relatively well for West Ham. He's been a good servant for them since he's joined, but I don't rate him. I think he's rubbish. I think he's slow. He can't play with the ball at his feet, and I don't think he's a good defender. I just think he's good aerially. But yeah, like he seems to get the edge over us aerially, and he did so for their goal. It was a really good finish from Ben Rama, but again, like you said, Bozo virus again. Bozo gene from Doherty. After the good work he did for the first goal, he goes and just inexplicably gives away a corner for no reason, knowing that set pieces are their greatest strength and our biggest weakness. And you just give them. You're basically, it's as good as a clear-cut opportunity for them at this point when you're playing like us.
Corner kicks are a penalty. That's what I was saying in the build-up, funny enough. Like I just didn't think we'd get a clean sheet purely because I knew they would score from a set piece. And
yeah.
lo and behold,
Same.
That's something you can guarantee with West Ham.
Yep. They won me money though. I can't lie. Thank you, Spurs. Thank you, spammers. I put a free a treble accumulator. I put down, how much did I put down? I put down like £10 and I won like 190 quid. And I did Spurs in my accumulator. I did Spurs to win and over 2.5 goals because I knew there was going to be 3 goals. I knew we were going to win and I knew we were going to concede. So there was always going to be 3 goals at least.
It's kind of a good thing from us. Like we've consistently created chances in consecutive games, especially recently, right? So you've got obviously Everton, Leeds, even Man City. Trying to think of the first we played, but even against Man United, we seem to create at will most of the time. So given that we were obviously proactive, we were dominant, really, really good at sustaining pressure as well. Like, were you nervous in the second half the whole time it was 2-1? Or did you get the feeling in the stadium like we were always just going to get that third goal eventually?
A bit of both, really. A bit of both. I'm not going to lie. Like, there has to be nerves when you're seeing us waste as many chances as we were wasting. You're thinking, for flip's sake, we're in total control here. They're literally begging for us to put them out of their misery, and we're not taking our chances. Like, as long as we've seen in this Premier League, like the league is so forgiving, so unforgiving. Sorry, like you look and shades of last season, 3-0 lead, and we fucking threw it away in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, threw it away to a pretty abject West Ham side that day, because I don't think they played well, but they rejuvenated themselves in the second half. And to let 3 goals slip, you're just thinking, flip's sake, PTSD. But when that third goal went in, it was just a huge relief to say, yes, the game's done, and we finally get that little bit of gloss that we needed on the scoreline, just to shut those wankers up, man. Honestly, rest in piss. Rest in piss. I wish them nothing but the worst of luck in their European campaign. Honestly,
yeah. Hopefully, Tongi can do a job.
Boy, if you get on the pitch, because I'm hearing that brother ain't even starting regularly.
Nah. That's true. I think he played in Europe and then got rested. I'll do that. Rested in the league and didn't even make an appearance off the bench. We'll see, man. Yeah, there was a passage of play in the second half. Like, I was nervous at the second half. There was a passage of play which I really liked, and it involved Højbjerg as well, where we managed to just we'd have an attack, it would break down, and then we managed to reset really, really well. We bopped it around, and then Højbjerg played that threaded ball into Kane.
Oh yeah.
For whatever reason, he tried to lob Fabianski in the box, which isn't a finish I usually associate with him. I thought he was just gonna hit it on the half volley.
Yeah,
I thought that was just gonna go bottom bin straight away.
Yeah, or even top bins. Just like, it's weird. He's so comfortable using his left foot, so I didn't really get why he felt that he needed to dink it over Fabianski. Right? I think he was forcing it. He could have just used his left foot to just guide it into the net. Yeah.
Like it was a really intricate bit of play, and I could sense the fans kind of like edging, like, attack, go forward. And we kind of went back a few times, then went forward again. We probed, and then eventually got a reward with that nice bit of play. So yeah, it's a good indication that we are fully now believing and putting faith in the automations Conte brings, because whenever we've faltered recently, it's when we haven't had that bravery to attack spaces, to play probing passes, to be aggressive. Like we saw that against Burnley and Man United, especially. So yeah, to carry on having that faith, even with just one goal lead, to carry on pressing forward, taking the risk. Romero still bombing forward.
Class.
Just to have that brief to proactively see out the game. It's something we're not used to seeing with Spurs. So again, honestly, that was awesome. So Emma, I hope you're both doing well. Did you guys watch any of the international games? Joe Rodon was immense again. The story of his game. To be honest, I don't really see him getting in over any of our centre backs currently. Do you?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think he's going to start over any of our centre backs currently, because I don't think we should be changing. I think that right now is the best combination of the three when it comes from, when you look at both the ability to sort of play with the ball and the ability to defend aerially and defend on the ground. I think it's the best combination. But what I will say is, I do agree that it's bizarre that he's not had a single sniff of game time, even when Dyer was injured and stuff like that. And players were playing poorly. Like we were struggling early January and stuff. Like Sanchez playing absolutely awful. Like I felt like he could have come into the team and had a couple games, but it's one of those ones where I wanted him gone in January simply because he's just collecting dust here. Literally, he's just a statue at this point in time. He must have so many splinters in his arse. He's always sat on the bench week in, week out. He's adding no value to our team, and he's not that bad a player that he can't cut it in the Premier League. I've always said that. I think he's an okay centre back, but he's not at the level to start week in, week out for Spurs. So why are we persisting with him? We should have just sold him.
Sure, it's a weird one as well, because even Conte was saying, even by his own admission, like, yeah, I probably should have played him. And there was a couple of times. Obviously, while Dyer was injured, we needed a centre back like him to be commanding in the middle. Because whenever we had a cross come in the box, we were just flapping all over the place. And like you said,
Tanganga.
Sanchez was awful as well. It didn't get the best out of Romero. He got exposed. So yeah, you're seeing Rodon playing well and not getting game time while Dyer was injured. It begs the question. Also, and it begs another question as to why Dyer didn't get called up to the England squad. Given his performances recently, like he for sure earned a place in that squad. I can see why Maguire got called up, but
England hype, man. Come on, Dyer's been. Admittedly, Dyer's actually been like I'm gonna say it. Dyer's been good for Spurs this season. Like, as when you look at what a centre back is meant to do for their team, not just both in the defensive element, but his ball playing as well this season has improved. I think Dyer, I'll say it fairly confidently now that Dyer has actually been good for Tottenham this season. But there's a difference. We're talking about starting for England, a front-footed team, where Gareth Southgate has a set system that has been successful for him over 2 tournaments. Like, Eric Dyer is not a better centre back right now than John Stones. Eric Dyer does not have more trust with Gareth Southgate than Maguire, which is why someone like Maguire, like you said, as shit as he's been, because Dyer has been better than him in the league, Maguire's been reliable for Southgate in the major tournaments. So he's one of his lieutenants. He's never going to drop him, same way he will never drop Kane. But I look at it as like someone like Tomori, for instance. Why?
Yeah, for sure.
He's not getting a call up. I see Milan. There's talk on Dyer. Like, I can get why Spurs fans are mentioning Dyer when you see the like Tyrone Mings in the team, when you see the likes of Connor Cody in the team. But again, Mings left-footed hype, and Connor Cody, again, one of his sort of trusted generals, captain at Wolves. He's been in the Euro squad as well. So personally, I think there's better centre backs than Eric Dyer that have missed out. So I'm not really going to make a fuss over Dyer missing out.
Yeah, I'm not even. I'm mad at the precedent it sets for the country and their selection, but I'm not mad at the same time in the sense that he's not going to get injured, because that's kind of the only thing that could probably hamper our momentum at the moment, on top of not actually playing for a week or two, would be injuries in the international break, which is something that we've been cursed with for years, like especially the Argentina players. Kulusevski's come out of his Sweden game with some fat swelling on his cheek. He's been banged by someone somehow. I haven't seen the incident, but I've just seen a picture of him.
I've seen
with
that.
one side of his face ballooned up, which is worrying.
He looks like he got whacked in the face by Arms Corleone, for heaven's sake. Like, that thing was massive. Massive. Absolutely massive.
Get him off and get him to Chubbs, Alexander Isaac, while he's there. But yeah, man. Yeah, hopefully. Just to wrap up the West Ham game, what did you think of Sergio Regulon'S performance? Again, another player who's been heavily criticised, while he's been heavily relied upon in Conte's system as obviously an attacking wing-back. There's been a lot of talk of him in the group chat as well, as of recently, on top of the Heung-min Son chat. But yeah, did you think he improved at all?
No. I think the last week has been a pretty shit period for Regulon. Not because he's missing all the chances, although they're frustrating. In the heat of the moment, you are angry. You're thinking, "Oh, why is he missing? Why is he missing?" But when we use perspective here, he is literally a left back. Like, I don't expect Regulon to put away every single chance he gets. He's going to miss chances because he's not clinical. He's not an attacker. His game isn't to find the back of the net. He's not Cancelo. Do you get what I'm saying? But what irks me with Regulon is the decisions he takes when he gets into the final third, even when he's running through on goal. Like, case in point, Harry Kane finds him perfectly, and the guy takes the heaviest of touches and completely just loses his momentum and then throws himself to the ground looking for a penalty.
That pissed me off so much. Actually,
stupid. And it's not just that as well. Like, even when he gets into good positions, because we are able to sort of work the ball into him. Like you said, the automations with Conte's system, Ben Davies joining the attack, and Son coming infield, and he gets sort of a bit more free space. When he gets this free space, he's just so jittery with the ball. He's like a kid. He's like a 10-year-old kid with the ball. Like, he doesn't want to cross the ball first time when he needs to cross the ball first time. He dwells, shifts it onto his right foot and puts a dodgy cross into the box. He just doesn't use his brain when he gets into the final third. And it's frustrating because for all the good openings that he's finding himself in, he just keeps wasting good possession, honestly. And that's the most frustrating thing. The fact that he's just too wasteful with this ball, whether that's with his shooting, whether that's with his crossing, whether that's with his link up. He's just dumb with the ball right now.
Yeah, it's at times I thought he improved against Brighton, but yeah, you can hear his internal screaming from in the stands at times, even through the TV at times when he's through. For whatever reason, he just doesn't have that confidence in himself in final third positions. To almost as a slight segue into our next topic, after the international break, if Sessegnon's back from injury, are you starting him over Regulon?
No, Sessegnon is shit, man.
He's still suspect. Fair.
He's dead. He's not been good enough for Spurs. He's had like 3 good games for Spurs in his career. Yeah, he's not giving me any sort of trust for me to say that he should start ahead of Regulon. But I do think Regulon, he's someone that can definitely be upgraded like easily, and I do think he would benefit from competition for sure. Listen, if Sessegnon can come into this team and play really well, then yeah, I won't have any complaints. But looking to him as the solution for our issues with Regulon, nah, not for me. He's dead. He's dead food.
Fair enough. But yeah, you just got to think so. Obviously with Conte pretty much naming an unchanged team throughout the last few weeks, and that's probably led to a kind of most complete performance of the season against West Ham, arguably. As a body of work over 90 minutes, you got to think, so Conte is probably looking at what his best lineup is over the rest of the season to aid with this top 4 push. Would you say he's got the settled lineup now? I guess the centre backs are set in stone, right? So you got Ben Davies, Dyer, Romero. Mm-hmm. That's set in stone. Romero's been immense game by game. Yeah. The midfield. So for the best lineup going forward,
I mean,
he's been playing Bentancur and Højbjerg recently. We've got Skip apparently coming back for the Newcastle game to be part of the matchday squad at least. But would you continue? I'd say, would you think Conte's best lineup as opposed to what you think should be? Continue with the 2 midfield, Højbjerg, Bentancur.
Yeah. I think for now, yeah, it works. It's working. I think on form, Skip is the one that I would say he should. 3 weeks ago, I would have said yes. It's a no-brainer. Skip should come into this team when he's fit. Blah blah blah. But listen, now it seems like these two are developing a little bit of an understanding, and we have to be honest. The same way we criticize Højbjerg when he's played poorly, acknowledge when he's actually playing well, because in the past couple of games he's actually played well. Had a pretty decent game against Everton, had a really good game against Man United, had a decent game again against Brighton, and then had a decent performance against West Ham. Listen, it doesn't undo the previous months of dog shit, but I think it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. You'd rather him play into a decent standard. You'd rather him play into a decent standard, so it gives Conte a good problem to have when Skip comes back. And with all due respect, I don't care about any sort of criticism, I stand by what I've said. I think he's better on the ball than Winks, and I think he's better on the ball than Skip. I think he's a better passer than both. So in games where we are going to dominate possession, I would much rather prefer to see the two midfielders who are going to at least take more risk of the ball. The problem with Højbjerg is he overestimates his quality, and for what we want him to do as a central midfielder, he is quite limited. But I would rather the thrust and the push and the probing with his passing in those type of games where we need to win against sort of, I want to say, similar or inferior opposition. If we're talking North London derby now, I don't know who I'd want to play out of him and Skip. I'd probably go for Skip because he's probably more reliable and playing next to Benton Core. But as I said, it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Man, them are going to be angry listening to this, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Listen, I like Højbjerg. I'll never not like Højbjerg. I know we need to upgrade on him in the summer. We do. But we're talking about between now and the end of the season, it's a good thing for him to be playing better. Like it has to be a good thing.
For sure. Like I was even flapping a bit just then, like when I was getting onto the subject, because it was just that realization that Højbjerg is actually playing much better now, and he is pretty much first choice. You can't disagree. Even a few weeks ago, I think everyone was saying we don't want this guy to start another game this season.
Yeah,
even you used to buy him. You were saying you didn't want him to start another game this season.
I didn't think he deserved to start, but here we are.
Bentancur, though, he's been immense. So fair play to him, and actually showing for the ball. So Højbjerg doesn't have to. He kind of negates all of Højbjerg's deficiencies, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd still look to work Skip in and play him with Bentancur. I think eventually that'll be if we end up sticking with the same two midfielders. Obviously, past the summer, even though I don't think we will, I'd still try and work Skip in to play with Bentancur. But yeah, at the moment, I can't disagree. Højbjerg still in there with Benten. Win backs. I think he's now settled on
the right back. Yeah,
I wasn't gonna say his surname, but he's now settled on Matthew.
Boy, disgusting. Again, when I look at this team, I look at a lot of players that I don't. Well, I say a lot. I look at least like 3-4 players that I don't want starting for Spurs. At least 3 or 4. But right now, again, I have no rationale to suggest that Emerson should start over Matt Doherty. Like, I know Matt Doherty is shit. He's rubbish. He's actually crap. You look at what he did on the weekend against West Ham, but simply because of the fact that as shit as he is, he can still offer us more than Emerson going forward in this system, and he's developing a decent understanding with Kulusevski. He has to play. Again, he has to play. Like, until he fucks up and gives us that realization that he's not going to do a better job than Emerson here, he has to play. Simple.
For sure. And yeah, given there's no injuries to Matthew, then I don't see Emerson starting another league game this season.
So fucking shit though, honestly. Like it's crazy that he is our starting right back. Kyle Walker-Peters got called up to the England squad. And I'm not trying to cry over spilt milk here, but it's nuts on the fact that we've actually gone out and spent the best part of 40 million on 2 right wing backs, and they are so bad. They're so bad. None of them are better than Aurier. None of them are better than Kyle Walker-Peters. None of them are anywhere close to Kyle Walker. Shocking, bro. Shocking.
Kyle Walker-Peters is a name that we don't like to bring up now these days.
Listen, he's doing his thing, man. At the time, I don't think many Spurs can argue it, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's
just Spurs are saying, do you think Hakimi could be a possibility?
Come on, man.
Let's just say no.
What planet does he?
That's a pipe dream.
Spurs is hilarious, man. He's a real one because he tunes into every stream. But bruh, I see some of your bro. Come on, nah. Turn it in. Come on, turn it in.
More of an optimist than me, baby. Um, yeah, he's just coming in. Yeah, let him dream. Sustainable shooters saying that Kulusevski has played well. He's played well tonight for Sweden, which comes as no surprise.
Good player, man.
Obviously,
Really.
you touched upon his good partnership with Matthew, and he's definitely a shoe-in coming off straight away into the team. He's hit the ground running, and straight into our first choice kind of right winger. So I guess that would be his first choice for the rest of the season, and the rest of the team makes up itself as well. You got Kane and Son. Man, like
Yeah.
how good though, like has Kulusevski's impact been? It's honestly, I think you're probably the highest stockholder in a certain underrated app for Decky, for Kulusevski, and he's been just what we needed as well, hasn't he? He's kind of made Conte's mind up for him.
Defo. Listen, when we were linked with him, I said two things. I said, one, it's not enough because I still think Spurs need more quality. But number two, he's a baller, big potential. I'm so happy we signed him. I'm really, really happy with that signing. I know it's circumstantial, but I was really happy with that signing because he was a player that I've rated, and I don't put any weight towards his time at Juve because for the most part he wasn't even a regular starter this season. And again, he's 21 years old. He's 21 years old. I think what has surprised me is how quickly he's been able to establish himself as a reliable player for Spurs to call upon because he's still young. He's 21 years old. I don't expect him to play this good between now and the end of the season, but the fact that he's come in and made an immediate impact, not just in his numbers, but in his actual contribution to the game, I knew verbatim, 1000%, this guy would be an infinite upgrade on Lucas Moura. I knew it for a fact. I was headstrong in my belief that this guy should be a regular starter for Spurs. I remember Spurs fans tried to rub him out when he came on after these cameos viewers. I said, I'm sorry, he has to start. I remember when we went to the Etihad, the two people I was with, I said, they're saying, oh, Lucas Moura. I said, you are crazy. There's no way on earth we get this guy. We've brought him in, and you want Lucas Moura to start a game of this magnitude against Man City. I'm sorry. And I'll keep saying it. He has to be a permanent starter. I don't want to see Lucas Moura start another game for Spurs unless Kulusevski is injured. Yeah, I'm tired of that chaos football where the ball's bouncing off his shins and he wants to put his head down and spearhead his way through a gazillion players only to lose the ball. I'm tired of it because Kulusevski, he brings way more culture to his game. Link up is better, passing's better. He picks his head up, he picks man out, combines better with the wing backs. Yeah, always offers himself as an outlet on the right hand side. And yet, in his defensive duties, he gives us so much security in the center of the park because he can come infield and help us where we have a numerical disadvantage. Like, this is a guy that's literally affecting so many facets of our game currently, and he's only 21 years old, and he's not even like a world-class player. He's not even an Mbappe or something like that. He's just a good player with big potential, and it's scary to see how the likes of him and Bentancur, these guys, they're not even like, I don't even want to disrespect them or anything, but they're not like, you know what I mean? They're not like elite standard. And they're making a mockery of the players that were playing in their positions previously because they're just way better. This is actually what it feels like to actually have players with good technical quality.
And a football brain, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like to pick on that recently, but just like decision making. We've said it what feels like for years now. Lucas Moura as well, just getting his head down, not even seeing the picture when he plays. No sense of combination play at all. And we knew that Kulusevski would be a much better fit for us in terms of a profile, but for him to hit the ground running, so important for us. And it's even taken me back a bit how quickly he settled into the new league, especially after being criticised after his first 20 minutes playing for us in the FA Cup. well in his stride and a well set lineup for Conte now going forward. Who knows if we get top 4 though? We could even. So I was even going to say like our next game could be. It's likely to be Newcastle, but we still haven't had the North London derby game rearranged yet. So who knows when that'll be? Arteta's comments, shameless recently, about fixture congestion,
Ridiculous.
and he thinks obviously the Premier League are trying to hamper Arsenal and give them a disadvantage where they've played half as many games as most of the other bigger teams in the league. So it's insane. We deserve to pack them in, really. Pause. But
I hope we do, and I think we will. I've been headstrong in my belief that Spurs will win that game. Said it in January, sticking to it now. I don't care how bad we play game to game. I think just because of the importance of that fixture, I think we'll beat them. I think we'll beat them. But listen, Spurs winning the one-off games won't surprise you. Like, no one will be really shocked, apart from maybe Arsenal fans, if Spurs were to beat Arsenal at home. It's a North London derby, and we've not lost at home in like 8 years. What will be the real test for Spurs is the games like Newcastle at home, like Burnley at home, like Brighton at home, like Aston Villa away, where we need to pick up 3 points. Those will be the games where we need to show ourselves, man. I really want us to bury Newcastle as well. Like, I need that. After what happened last season with the penalty situation, Callum Wilson, his comments, that smile post-match,
I hated him after that.
enemies. I need us to bury them into the pits of hell. Bury them, man. I need them. I need them mudded. I don't care about their revival. I want us to show why we deserve to be in this race for top 4 and beat them.
Yeah, I'm more confident now, especially seeing an Everton team with 10 men beat them at home. Especially an Everton team managed currently by Lampard, he's not been doing so well recently, which is a huge shame. But yeah, it kind of needs to wrap it up with
a huge shame.
It's such a shame. So I'm so dry with that. It's quite hard to come across if I can't see my face. But yeah, it's it's a good thing Conte's obviously kept this. I'm glad that they've waited to rearrange this game, because if they arranged it in the middle of some of the games in and around when we played Wolves and Southampton at home, I wouldn't have been anywhere near as confident. But yeah, I think we're reaping the rewards now with Conte. See, keeping that same lineup, keeping that continuity, and then we when was the last time in your recent memory that we've consistently had? I don't like this football terminology these days at times, but creating like high XG chances, having a higher XG than most teams. It's been ever since 17-18 for me.
Yeah. I would say maybe early part of 18-19 in the league. We were, in fact, I think that's where it started to tail off a little bit. But the 19-20 season was a write-off in terms of consistent chance creation. 2021 season, we know what happened there. Unless we were playing some of the smaller sides. And even this season, I still think chance creation is still something that Spurs have to work to improve on in terms of the profile of players that we can upgrade in our first 11. But no doubt about it, Antonio Conte has got us creating way more chances than we were under Nuno. Like, complete night and day. Like, complete night and day in terms of chance creation. I saw a stat today that in the last like 5 matches or something like that, I think Andy Robertson was the highest big chance creator, followed by Harry Kane, followed by Kulusevski, followed by Matt Doherty. So listen, I will put this disclaimer out there as well. I don't think Spurs are this creation machine, or this creative machine, sorry, because when you look at the opposition we played, we should be creating hella chances against that bummy Everton side. We should be creating chances against Leeds, who were getting slapped up silly, and Brighton away. Yeah, probably the more respectable W, but again, they've lost they had lost 5 on the spin prior to that game anyway, and had not won in 5 at home. So yeah, Spurs should be creating chances against these sides who are just simply not defending well. But it's good to see that at the very least, where we need to create chances, we can, which is something that you couldn't guarantee for even in really poor sides.
Yeah, it's good on Conte. He managed to keep the faith, and obviously got a lot of criticism after some of the home losses, saying he should have changed to 4 at the back. Play Lucas Moura as a 10. I was seeing some disgusting takes. But
bro.
Fair play to Conte. He's obviously backs himself as a
Facts.
top class manager, as he should.
So he should.
As he should.
Yeah. I couldn't believe our fans all change it to why? We're way more vulnerable defensively in a 4, and you can clearly see that the system is not the issue, it's the players. I don't understand.
Yeah.
If the system is constantly getting you into good positions and the final output isn't good enough, how do you then think that is the system's fault and not the players' fault? I don't understand it.
No, couldn't understand it either. And luckily, so with now Conte keeping the faith with his players, well, with this group of players, the good coaching and the good structures negated quite a lot of our players' deficiencies, and obviously that on top of new additions hitting the ground running, it's all credit to Conte and a little bit of credit to Paratici as well. I think had to wear that in there.
Yeah,
that's 3 signings which have objectively banged.
That hard N word is still in Alcatraz for me, man. But yeah, the 2 signings he's brought in are looking good, and of course he got the biggest piece of the puzzle, which is Conte so far. But boy, I'm still having to see Emerson come on the pitch. I'm still seeing Brian Hill on loan at Valencia. I'm still seeing no additional centre back, etc. I saw no new right back, etc., etc. So boy, I'm not ready to give him some praise just yet, but thank you for bringing us those 2 good players, because they are 2 good players.
And on top of that, Antonio, So I mentioned the 3 signings. The 4th one being Conte,
yeah. Can I ask a question to you though? What do you? Because just before we close, what are your thoughts on sort of the midfield issue then? So I say the midfield issue because obviously we went through a period where we were getting overrun running the midfield. My solution for that was for him to persist with the 3 at the back, but switch it to a 4-2-3-1 or switch it to a 3-4-1-2 and play Decky in the 10, or play the 3-4-3 and just instruct Decky to do what he has done in recent games, which is occupy a central role. With those tweaks that he's made, are you comfortable with the 2 in midfield, or do you think when Oliver Skip comes back, we should find a way to play 3 in midfield?
To be fair, like when we were losing some of these games, I was thinking, please, like play the 3 in midfield, because we looked much better playing 3-5-2 previously. But then I look at our midfielders who we could play in a 3, and I don't think it's fluid or creative enough. So making up the numbers in midfield with Ben Davis and Romero, having that underlapping runs makes up the numbers. See Decky coming in field with Kane at times, so they'll interchange as well. Oh, here we go. We've got some comments for you finally.
Fuck's sake.
From your fans. But yeah, with Decky and Kane obviously interchanging and dropping in, it makes up the numbers as a 3, and I'm happy for that to be the plan coming forward, because we were obviously getting we were quite clearly getting outnumbered.
Yep.
We were quite clearly getting outnumbered. So yeah, I'm glad that Conte didn't kind of panic and try and bring in. So I think he did try play Winks, Højbjerg and Bentancur all in the same midfield at one point. which would
You
give
know
us
what I
control
think?
in games. But yeah, I didn't think it would be creative enough going forward. So with the emergence of Becky, I'd kind of keep it as it is, with him dropping in certain phases of play.
You know what I think as well. I think the disbanding of Winksberg has proved beneficial. I know that's your boy, but I'm sorry, he ain't it. And I'm not saying this to pretend as if Højbjerg has performed to any good standard for me to defend him, but
So
I
you
think
basically just wanted me to say Winks being dropped is for the benefit of his team.
precisely. But I also
I
wanted
thought
to
that
say
was a
that
loaded question.
Bentancur being in the midfield actually helps us play with Bentancur being in the midfield and Kulusevski doing what he's done helps us play with the two in midfield for now. And for me, yeah, it never crossed my mind to drop Kulusevski. I felt you always had to keep him on the pitch. So whether you put him centrally to make up the numbers, or you just keep him on the right and get him to play centrally when we're out of possession, like he did against Man City, that was always the way forward for me.
There we go. Antonio Conte, please never leave us, please. But yeah,
Boy.
that pretty much wraps up this pod today. Gobber, thank you again for joining us fresh out of your training session with Touchline.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
we'll
of as
preview.
well, sorry, Owen, I was
Go.
going to say,
No.
speaking of as well, for those who are still listening, Touchline Fives, if you ever want to play for the NSO, please give us a DM on Instagram or on Twitter. We're always looking for new people to join the clan. So yeah, let us know if you're interested.
I would have probably missed out that minor bit of housekeeping there. So thank you.
It's calm.
I haven't suffered like some of you guys
Mate.
at the team. I live a bit too far away in this petrol crisis. So it is what it is. Again, thank you for joining us. We'll probably preview the Newcastle game next week, if that is going to be our next game. As for now, I'm not a religious man per se, but I'm going to be saying my prayers during the international break for no more injuries, or no injuries at all to our team. Otherwise, we're screwed, for lack of a better word or term. But again, thank you to those that have joined to the stream tonight as well. Obviously, there's quite a few of you as well. So, obviously, with it being a late stream for us today, fair play for joining.
Yep.
See, keep an eye out for our audio form pod, which comes out on the Saturday morning. And for now, again, NSO out, and see you next week. Peace.